Hey everyone, it's time to Nefis and chill. In this video, I want to bring your attention to something a lot of people are kind of overlooking in the patch notes for Waking Flame DLC, otherwise known as the Update 31. And that change, or buff, or whatever you want to call it, is coming to Frost Clench, one of the two morphs of Destructive Touch, the base skill of the third skill in the Destruction Staff skill line. And I'll just kind of go over what it is and what the history is. Well, actually the history. So the history of this is that they changed this to a taunt via the ice staff. So obviously that wasn't very popular because the taunt range on this was 14 meters. Now it's 15 meters. They upped it by 1 meter this patch. And that in relation to the Undaunted ranged taunt is 828 meters. So a lot of people were like, well, what's the point of a Frost Staff taunt? The idea is nice, but not really, great, and it doesn't really offer anything. Because they also did remove the heavy attack bonus of an Ice Staff, where equipping the Ice Staff not only reduces the cost of blocking and also increases the damage mitigation of blocking, but it also gave you, upon heavy attack, a taunt. So they moved that taunt to basically Clench. But now, with Update 31, they buffed it even more, and I think this will actually change a lot of thinking and will affect a lot of the builds we do. Will actually force us to kind of think about where we can get away with using Clench, because the buffs to this is basically now it has guaranteed chance of afflicting a status effect. Now, through that, it's guaranteed chilled. What do you get with chilled? Minor Brittle. Basically, you have guaranteed minor Brittle, which is a lot of critical damage in terms of the modifier, and also it is a guaranteed major maim, which is basically the original minor heroic slash, and this is really strong now, basically. And what this does in terms of minor Brittle and ice staff tanking, especially, is you don't really need to slot 2 ice staves anymore to apply minor Brittle, at least for boss fights. Because for trash fights, obviously you still need Pulsar with a charge staff on the front bar or something, and a probably another infused frost enchant, because that's the typical setup right now, right? So this is infused frost enchant on the back bar and charged ice staff front bar with whatever enchant, even for boss fights, because you can only proc minor Brittle with an ice staff equipped, and it's not a guaranteed chance even with charged, even with infused frost. But even if it is guaranteed, which is kinda most of the time, when you swap bars to a sorting board on the front bar, that minor Brittle is gone. No longer has a chance from proccing from that infused frost enchant on the back bar. So my point here is, with the guaranteed chilled, thus the guaranteed minor Brittle, you can swap bars. And this is every, pretty much every 4 seconds, because minor Brittle does last in the 4-second range. Well, as I'll demonstrate here, you can definitely still have minor Brittle active even if you swap off your bar. So pay attention to the debuffs as well on the right. And for the debuffs, pretty much. Now, obviously, there's downsides to this. Obviously, you're thinking to yourself, well, this doesn't look very easy in an actual fight if you need to keep up other buffs and stuff. But again, it's going to be content specific and also potentially group specific. But the idea is there, the concept is there. It is guaranteed minor brittle proc, it is guaranteed shield, it's guaranteed major maim. We use this information. For specific fights, for very simple fights, you know, something like the Solemn Sanctorium hard mode, a tank could potentially backbar it. Instead of doing a sword and board with an ice staff in the back bar, right now you could do a sword and board, ice staff in the back bar with Clench. You don't, and this kind of opens up, I guess, more room for other players. You don't, especially for stam comps, you don't need a healer in the Brittle setup. You don't need a Magden Brittle for maybe specific fights, because while, you know, Brittle DPS or something like that is not that bad at all, actually, it is still less damage than what you could achieve with Infernal Staves in comparison for single target damage. So yeah, that's pretty much all I want to talk about in regards to this change. Just to reiterate, Frost Clench is getting, you know, not just an innate taunt, it's also getting guaranteed shield, which in turn guarantees minor brittle, and it inflicts major maim on your target. And this isn't just for a PvE kind of concept. I feel like, I think this is definitely going to be a play with Hrothgar's Chill or something like that in PvP. I've seen PvPers kind of already, you know, play with the notion of an ice staff backbar for some out of the world builds, and I think ice staff something, whether it's a stam spec or a max spec, is definitely going to be something to consider, because again, you don't need to double bar ice staves anymore. You don't need to do something like that even in PvP, and something that synergizes well with this, like an item set like Hrothgar's Chill for update 31, definitely something to kind of look out for. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Stay safe and have fun.